Hey everybody, Matt Green here, and welcome to episode number 10 of SmartTalk. And today we're going to be talking about how to boost your blood sugar levels, which is sort of the opposite that we've been talking about over the past few episodes. I'm also going to be covering what type of exercises you can be doing if you can't get on the floor and follow all the exercise routines that we have specifically inside Slim Down Smart. I'm also going to cover what the times mean in the meal plans. We're also going to go over intermittent fasting and different snacks. We have a lot of phenomenal questions that were asked this week for today's episode. So without further ado, let's get into the episode and get started with the first question.
Judy asks, I'm a diabetic on oral medication. On day 5, I had low blood sugar, 76, and was told it's because I didn't have enough carbs. Any suggestions?
Hey Judy, great question. And actually, a 76 blood sugar level is pretty normal. Anywhere from 70 to 99 is a normal, it's considered a normal range for blood sugar levels, so you don't really have to raise it at all. But if you did want to raise it, some of the options that you can choose from is either incorporating another snack in your daily routine or having maybe some type of leftovers from the day that you were following or from a previous day that would help boost your blood sugar levels up a little bit by incorporating another small meal into your routine. But you really don't need to if because your blood sugar levels are actually at a very normal range. And the exciting thing about that is if you keep your blood sugar levels at that range, and if you're type 2 diabetic or pre-diabetic, you're going to be able to reduce and eliminate that medication because your blood sugar levels will be very stable if you can keep it at a 76 consistently. That's actually a really great number to be at, so that's really exciting for me to hear. But I just recommend if you want to raise it a little bit, you could have more snacks. You could have deviled eggs, you could have nuts and seeds, you could have celery and peanut butter. There's a lot of different options that we have on the website in the manual section, so you can choose from those snacks. You could also incorporate, as I was saying, like an extra meal throughout the day. You can have leftovers from the day that you were preparing foods if you had any leftovers from that day, or from a previous day if you had any leftovers. You could have another small meal during the day, and that would help boost your blood sugar levels up a little bit. But you do want to stay away from foods that have a lot of sugar and that are very high in carbs, because that's going to spike your blood sugar levels too high, and you don't want to do that. You want to keep your blood sugar levels stable, and the foods that I recommended and the strategies and plans that I just recommended to you are just going to give you a modest bump if you want in your blood sugar levels, and that'll keep you on track with the plan and keep you on path to keeping your blood sugar levels balanced and reducing your medications.
Antonius asks, you mentioned a jar of tomato sauce. May I ask the volume of a jar of tomato sauce? Here in Australia, we don't seem to have tomato sauce in a jar, only in bottles.
Hey Antonius, great question. And for the jars, they're actually all pretty comparable, so that's why we recommend just a jar on the plan. We don't really have a size specified to it, because at the store in America, I know you said you're from Australia, the cans are about this big, and then, or maybe a little smaller, but then they're wider as well. And all of the cans, jars, and bottles, they're all comparable, but maybe in Australia it's different. This is the sauce that I actually get for the chili recipe or any tomato sauces that any of our other recipes call for. And this is a 24-ounce bottle of tomato sauce. And the reason I just picked this one is because it was the lowest one that had the lowest amount of sugar. So that's why I chose this one. And I also like it is because it's in a glass jar. And if it's in a can, sometimes cans have BPA, so you want to avoid that. And that is a toxin that you want to avoid from cans. So that's why I'd recommend getting a glass jar. And then I'd recommend choosing one that's the lowest in sugar. That's going to help keep your blood sugar levels balanced, help keep weight gain off, and that's going to be the best option for you. But the reason I put jar on the meal plans and on the shopping list is because typically they're all pretty comparable, whether it's from a can or a bottle. And even if you got leftovers and you got a couple jars or a couple cans, then you're going to be using it anyway, so you're not going to waste anything. Or let's say you only used half this bottle, which is what I use in the chili, then I just usually store the leftovers in the fridge until I make that recipe again. So it's there's really no specific size, and I usually just pick the jar that I like the most because, as I said, this is low in sugar and it's 24 ounces. It's in a glass bottle, so that's why I chose this option. And you'll have plenty of different options at your store, but just choose which one you feel is going to fit the best for you, and grab a couple cans or jars or bottles and see what works best for you. Maybe it just depends on how much you add to the recipe too. I mean, you don't have to add all the sauce that we recommend into the recipe. You can add a little bit less, or maybe you like a little bit more. So there's some variables involved in it, but pick which works best for you. And you guys heard my recommendations about the jar and what I look for. But hopefully that sets you on the right path and gives you some more insights when you're choosing your tomato sauce at the store.
Sandra asks, my husband is hypoglycemic and needs to eat a snack between meals, typically a non-fat flavored yogurt or protein bar. What would be better choices on your plan?
Hey Sandra, awesome question. And if your husband is hypoglycemic, then there's a couple things that you can do to help boost his blood sugar levels. And the answers that I have are similar to the first question that was asked in this video. And the options that you have are incorporating another snack into your routine to help boost his blood sugar levels. And the plain Greek yogurts, that's a good option. They're low in sugar, and that probably does the trick really well. And also there is the protein bar that you mentioned that you just have to be careful with, and you want to make sure you read the label and make sure that it's low in sugar and that it doesn't have any processed ingredients in it. And it can be really tricky because there's a lot of protein bars, and I would say 90 to 95% of the protein bars on the market that are sold in the grocery store are actually very unhealthy for you. So you just have to be careful that you're getting a good and high quality protein bar for your husband to help raise his blood sugar levels just slightly. And the protein bar could be raising them too high. I'm not sure. You just have to see and check the label and also check his blood sugar levels. But some of the other options I had are incorporating other snacks, like an apple would be great, dark chocolate, 70% or higher cocoa content, celery and peanut butter, deviled eggs. Those are some of my favorite snacks. Macadamia nuts, pistachios, cashews, almonds. Those are all great options as well. We also have a lot of other options in the manual section of the Slim Down Smart website. So that's what I would recommend snack-wise. And another option that you have is incorporating another meal into your husband's day. So it could be leftovers from the previous day, or maybe when you're preparing meals during the current day that you're on, you had leftovers that you can also eat as well. And that can help just bump his blood sugar levels up just a little bit more, and that would level them out and keep them right on track. So that's what I would really recommend for boosting your blood sugar levels slightly with the plan.
Virginia asks, do you have exercises for older people, ones that do not require getting down on the floor?
Hey Virginia, phenomenal question. And if you can't do any of the exercises that we recommend where you're getting on the floor, then what I would recommend instead is going for a walk. That's going to be the best way to keep your activity levels up. And also, you could do some of the workouts that we recommend that aren't on the floor, like maybe we have a chest exercise you can do or an arm exercise. Those are going to help keep your upper body limber and flexible, because if you're not working out any of your muscles in your upper body, then they're going to be stiff, so you want to avoid being stiff. And going for a walk can also get your legs stretched out, and it can be great exercise for your body. So I highly recommend that. And it can be tricky. I mean, you want to pick out the things that work best for your body, and you definitely want to do something, because a lot of us are busy working, so we're sitting for the most of the day, or if we're watching a TV show, we're sitting during that. So most people are sitting for long periods of time, which is really not a great thing because it's terrible for our health. And it can lead to, sitting for long periods of time can lead to disease. It can lead to fatigue, sore muscles, stiffness. So there's a lot of problems associated with sitting for long periods of time. And also obesity is another huge one with sitting for hours upon hours at a time. So you just want to make sure that you're doing some type of activity. You don't want to be doing nothing. You want to make sure that you're doing something, such as walking if you're not able to do any of the exercises that we recommend. So make sure that you're always keeping your activity levels up.
Jean asks, I'm in my second week of following the menu, and I have a question about the timing of meals. Can you explain the reason for the 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. eating plan? Is this intermittent fasting?
Hey Jean, great question, and the timings of the meals are for just a reference. It's not specifically for intermittent fasting, but that's also a great strategy, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's something that you can use and try it out and see if it works for you. But for those of you who don't know what intermittent fasting is, it's when you start, for example, eating at maybe 11 o'clock in the morning, and then you stop eating after dinner at like 6 or 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and then that's your window of eating. And then after you're done eating, after dinner, then for the rest of the night you're not eating, and then while you're sleeping you're not eating, and then right when you wake up you're not eating. So that leaves like a 15 or more hour window where you're not eating, which is a fasting period, which works really well, and it's sort of something that I follow as well, and works really well. It can help you reduce cravings because you're not always grabbing food all the time. So it's a really strong strategy that you can use, and it's a great one. But back on the times, basically we just put those there as just a reference because the average member was following the plan from about 9 a.m. eating breakfast and eating until 6 p.m. in the afternoon. So that's kind of why we just structured it that way. There's really no specific time. You don't have to eat it right at those times. Maybe you wake up at 6 a.m. and you want to eat at 7 a.m. That's fine. You can do that. You just have to fit the times in that work best for you. So, yeah, it depends. I mean, if you're hungry right when you wake up, maybe you want to eat something. Or if you're not a big breakfast person, maybe you want to wait a couple hours and try the intermittent fasting and start eating, like say you get up at 6, maybe you want to eat something at 8 a.m. So you can try things out and see which works best for you. The times really aren't a huge deal, but the biggest component is that you want to make sure that you're feeling satisfied and that you're feeling full. And so you just want to make sure that you're eating to feel satisfied, because if you're feeling hungry, it can cause you to cling on to unwanted weight gain. So it's just finding a balance and seeing what works best for your body. Everybody's a little bit different. So see what works best for you and pick the times that work best with your schedule, with your job and your work and your family, and go from there. So basically what my schedule is I'll wake up in the morning and I don't eat right away. I'm not a big breakfast person, but I'll eat maybe around 10 or 11 in the morning. That would be my breakfast. And then maybe 3 hours later, I'll have my lunch. And I'm always eating 3 hours apart, and that's how we have the time set up in the meal plans, is eating about every 3 hours. So that's something you're going to want to stick to as well. And hopefully that gives you some more guidance as well. And that should answer your question. Today was an awesome episode. Hopefully it helped you out a little bit and gave you some more insight about how to follow the Slim Down Smart plan a little bit more efficiently, and it should help you improve your health even further. So I'm very excited for that. We've got the holidays coming up. We've got Thanksgiving, which is about 10-15 days away, so that's just around the corner. So we all have to get ready for the upcoming holiday. Then after Thanksgiving, it seems like then the holidays start coming around. Then we got Christmas coming up, then we got New Year. So it's the perfect time to really get your plan together for the holidays so that you can keep unwanted holiday weight gain off and stick to your goals and stay on track with your health. It's really important because a lot of people during this time of year gain the most amount of weight. So you just want to be careful, and you don't want to get the new year off to a slow start. You want to make sure that you're bursting right through the new year and you're still on track with your health. And while everyone's scrambling to get their health goals together, you're already on track, and and that would be a great feeling and a great position to be in. So that's what I would be focusing on if I were you, and that's something I'm focusing on right now to myself, and something we're recommending to all of our members. So just keep that in mind. And before we close out the episode, I wanted to do a question of the day. These always intrigue me because it's always great to hear how members are following the plan, and it's always interesting to read people's answers and interact with you guys. So my question of the day is going to be, what time do you eat breakfast in the morning, or what time do you have your first meal of the day? Let me know your answer in the comment section below, and I'll talk to you guys down there and reply to your answers. And if you have a question that you want to submit on the episode, definitely make sure that you scroll down below this video and click the link. If there's either an orange button or a link in the description of this video where you can submit your question, and I'll answer it on a future episode of Smart Talk. So that's it for this episode, and I'll talk to you in another episode, and have a great day.